Carmen, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Carmen.
Okay, we're recording. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. And sorry, let me do side screens so I can do this. First up, hope I have the agenda in the right spot. First, we have approval of minutes dated October 12th. Oh, we're still here, Howard. Can you hear us? I'm gonna keep moving forward because we have enough people on the call and we have a full agenda, so I want to keep things moving today. So first up, we have approval of minutes dated October 12th, 2020. Does someone want to make a motion to approve, or does anyone have any comments about them?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Great.
Sorry, who seconded?
Lisa seconded, I believe.
Yeah.
And then next up, we've got topics from the floor. So we have a few folks on that I don't believe are on the agenda. So if anyone would like to speak for public comment, maybe raise a hand or wave at us or start talking and we'll give you some time to speak.
Yeah, there's a couple people that are muted because they are muted automatically, but I can't unmute them. So if they wanted to speak, they will need to either raise their hand in the chat column or unmute themselves.
Go up. So Pat, do you want to get started?
Yeah, I live in St. John's, but I used to live in St. Helens. But I'm really interested in getting a walking club established maybe in St. Helens and Scappoose, the Columbia County area. So I'm just really curious about urban trails and all that good stuff. So.
Great. Is there anything specific that you wanted us to address? We do have urban trails on the agenda today, so we'll be giving just a quick update on that today.
No, it's just my general interest. And so hopefully
So
thinking about.
Pat, what's your name? Do you mind giving your last name and phone number or point of
Sure,
contact?
I can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
I have a suggestion for Pat. If she could come to the next council meeting when we'll be talking about this, our city council meeting work session. It would be interesting that you give testimony at the city council as well. That would be well received. Thank you.
That's good advice. Thank you, Doug. And that is on Wednesday, 12/16 at 1 p.m. is the work session. And the agenda and everything is posted online for that as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Thank you, Pat. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment? You've got Claire on the phone, Melissa Howard. Is anyone seeing hands go up or anything? I'm not seeing anything. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and move forward. So next up we have counselor's report. Doug, would you like to provide an update?
Well, it's good to see everyone. Wow. This is kind of a landmark meeting for me in a sense. Doubtful that I will be with you folks in the next 2 years of my term. There is probability. I'm not certain. That's up to our mayor. So it's the one thing that he does is he assigns to boards and commissions. And then he also allows the counselors to be liaisons to departments. So at this time, I'd like to just thank Thad on the staff as our parks superintendent, and Sue Nelson as our engineer, and she was our interim public works person. I just want to thank the staff for all that they have done and contributed. And this is collectively, this is the best group of individuals I could ever wish to be a part of. You folks are amazing. The leadership, each of you step up from what I've seen to the chairmanship and have led in a wonderful way. And people have responded. The individual committees have responded. I just feel really, really good about the recommendations that you have made, and hopefully that you will make continually. Then that's why I kind of think that this session is a landmark session, because of what you have on your agenda, and in particular the trails portion of it. I think that is, if you make a recommendation to the council to go forward on that after your presentation, wow, it opens up a whole entire opportunity for projects, for ongoing projects for this group to continue on. And I just think that's going to be an amazing landmark decision. Trail connectivity is huge in the community, and it's all up to you folks to carry it forward and keep it going. And I know you will. So I just wanted to say that. And that's the most important thing I can say. And it's been a pleasure working with you. If I am assigned to this group, which I hope I am, I hope that happens. I look forward to working with you for the next 2 years. Okay. And I'm at the mountains now. How the weather lead.
Is Sherry with you?
No.
No.
No, John.
Thank you for that. Thank you for all of that, Doug. Does anyone, sorry, I'm going to try and keep us on agenda today because it is packed full.
It is.
Does anyone have specific questions for Doug or comments?
I have a comment.
Go for it.
I've been around a while on the Parks Commission. Used to be a little more active than I am currently, but of all the commissioners and counselors I've seen come through, Doug's probably been the best, the most involved, and has helped us accomplish more than we've done in a long time. So I think kudos to him too. And so I hope you come back at some point.
Thank you, John. We've accomplished a lot. You folks have.
I just want to say, would it help if I talked to the mayor? You have been instrumental in helping us move forward with Dalton Preserve. And I just can't imagine you not being here, not only to help with me and the preserve and our advisory committee, and just giving us the information that we need to move forward on different items, and I'm sure everybody else here. So.
Thank you, Len. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
Yes, thank you.
Now you don't get to leave the call right now. You still have to stay on.
Doug, I'd say without Doug, you know, the urban trail would not be moving forward very quickly.
Well,
Thank you, Doug.
Well, it's stumbled a little bit, and I'm glad it did. And this is, from what I see now, this is just supposedly a wonderful piece. I'm saying that before the presentation, but I know and I believe that this is going to be a great thing, and it's going to set a wonderful precedent for things to come. Thank you all.
All right, we are going to move on to new business. So the first thing under new business we have is term expiration. So Jerry and I both have our terms ending this month, actually. So I think I haven't had to go through this before, but I think what we typically do is see if we're still interested. And if we are, the commission makes either a recommendation to extend our terms or we put out for applications. Do I have that right?
Yeah, if you're interested, they can just make a recommendation to appoint you for another term.
Okay. Jerry, let's start with you. Are you interested in another term?
Hey, I'm looking forward to the urban trail getting completed. So that would be a yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
So does,
and
oh,
the
go ahead.
botanical gardens, we've got to spray the poison stuff down there. Yeah, there's lots of things left to do.
Lots to do. Does anyone want to make a motion to extend the term of, or make
John
a
can't talk,
motion?
though. John
Or-
can't say anything.
What?
I'll
Oh,
make a motion.
thank you.
I'll second.
Great. Did you get what that motion is, Sherry? To recommend we extend the term for Jerry?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
thanks.
opposed?
Thanks, John.
Great.
You're welcome.
And then I'm next. So I would also like to have my term extended if you all will have me, if anyone wants to make a motion.
I make a motion?
Thank you. Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. Hey. All right. Anything else regarding term expirations that anyone wants to mention? Perfect. Moving right along. Next up, we have donated benches for McCormick Park, and we have Kathy Surstad, and hopefully I said that right. Kathy, we have you on and you are muted. We had your form in our packet, so hopefully everyone had a chance to review that form. Is there anything that you want to give us a little overview, Kathy?
Maybe the only question you might have is exactly where I had in mind that those benches be put. So if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay. I can go through super quick. The description, just for everybody, is a 4-foot long Trek composite bench with back and arms. Location, McCormick Park. For one is McCormick Park across the bridge to the left overlooking the creek, the popular play area. And then the second was McCormick Flower Bed by Old Portland Road. Good resting spot when walking the trail.
Okay, so not right in the flower bed, but kind of behind that flower bed where there are 3 trails that all come together right at that point. So it seems like an appropriate spot for resting.
Definitely. Does anyone have, oh, go ahead.
Question, Kathy, do you have in mind which way the bench faces?
Well, that one at the Y of the trails, just kind of, facing towards that flower bed or towards the trail, however it fits in there. I'm not real particular about that.
Okay.
And the one by the creek, overlooking the creek, I know there's a lot of kids that play in the creek in the summer a lot of times, and parents are there with them. Be a spot for the parents to sit while the kids are playing. So far enough above that if the creek rises very much that it's not in the water in the winter.
Thank you.
Great. Does anyone else have questions or concerns with the form that Kathy filled out? And if not, does someone want to make a motion to recommend to City Council placement of the benches according to the form?
Also move.
Second it.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, Carmen, before Kathy, are you still there?
Yes.
Can I
This is
get
Jerry.
an anyone opposed really quick before, or do you want more discussion on this, Jerry, before we vote?
Whatever you guys want to do.
Okay. Go ahead, Jerry.
I just didn't want Kathy to leave.
Oh.
Kathy and her husband Jim are real avid walkers, and so they walk all over the place. I know they do Volks walks. Is that what they're called, Kathy?
Yes.
And so one day they were walking by my house, and we got in a conversation. And Kathy says, "What do you think about putting some benches at the top of Great Cliffs Park?" And I says, "Well, the Parks and Trails Commission, we've discussed that previously, but we've really not moved ahead with it. We're, it's kind of in limbo." And so, Kathy, I don't really want to put anything in I'd rather for you to do the talking, but what I gathered, Kathy, was that Kathy said that if we were interested in getting a couple benches to go up in that, and as I said, I think that's the nicest public viewpoint in all of St. Helens, above that trail there. And
Jerry, is this the next item on the agenda? Is this a possible donation of benches to upper portion of Great Cliffs Park?
Yeah, I added that to the agenda, but
Okay,
I wanted to catch, well, Kathy was here though.
Okay, can we finish the vote really quick on, just so we stay on track for meeting notes? Can we finish the vote for the donated benches and just get in all those in favor, say aye, and anyone opposed, say nay? Sorry, we didn't finish that vote completely.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Awesome. Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we had that before we moved on. So just so we're clear, we're on to the next item now, which is the donation of benches to the upper portion of Great Cliffs. Well, sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
Well, no, I thought the vote was over with. But I'll let Kathy say what her thinking is about that.
Okay.
If she'd like.
She's still there, Kathy.
Sure. Jerry and I discussed the possibility of 2 benches would be actually on, that's River Street, and is it Wyeth, Jerry?
Yeah, it would probably actually be on Wyeth Street because it would be, a little bit before the trailhead there.
Okay. So on that bluff and overlooking the river, which is a very nice view, there's room for benches. And we will have benches available at some point in the future. Right now, it's taking longer to get the benches because of COVID. They don't ship them very quickly, but I would think within the next year, we should have a couple available to go there if you're interested in that.
Yeah, I think having benches up there has been on our list of wants for a while, so I'm all in favor of that.
So is that, Jerry and Kathy, is that in a park, within the park boundaries, or is it on the public right-of-way?
I'm pretty sure, Doug, I'm pretty sure that it's on public right-of-way. I don't think that's in the park.
Then that will probably be a public works issue. And so what I'd like to see is make that recommendation, but we'll make it to as a public works issue, just that we note that. Okay, if we know that that's where they want to be, that's where they'll be placed.
Is that
but
something?
I'm not 100%, but Doug, I'm not 100% sure that's
yeah.
I think it's city property, not parks.
I think the Great Cliffs Park rises up to there from down below. Isn't that Great Cliffs Park down at the bottom? And I think it's incorporated into the park up above as well. I'm not positive of that, but I think that's the case.
Well, we'll check it out, and then we'll make certain before we make so that when the council meeting comes around, and if I'm supporting this, that I know that if it's on on parks or on public works, maybe Sue Nelson can help me with that, or Jen.
Should be in the master plan. Should be in the master plan.
Well, I'm looking for a map now, but I don't know if I can find one.
Okay. When it comes time for those benches, though, we would request Kathy to fill out another form, and then that would be when we make a motion, correct?
Perfect. Yes.
Does that sound right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to interrupt one more time, sorry. But Carmen, if I can ask Sherry to put these recommendations and forward our recommendations, what you folks have recommended, so to our city recorder, Kathy Payne, so she can put them on the agenda for our council meeting, or make an addendum to our council meeting, because our council meeting is in 2 days. And I think this is important enough to be on the agenda. So thank you.
I always send those things to Kathy.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, will you let me know when I need to fill out the paperwork?
Yeah, I would think it would be close to when you're going to receive those benches, similar to what you did for the McCormick, because you already have one of those benches and one is on the way. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I think that would make sense, just so timing is consistent and it doesn't get lost kind of in the shuffle. But anyone else, feel free to chime in on that.
And I would also like to point out that these benches are donated from the St. Helens Lions Club, that we recycle plastic to earn the benches, and the whole club is involved. It's a service project. So we would like the club to have credit for doing that.
Nice.
Definitely. Thank you. I wonder if we could get some kind of a press release or something about the donation from the Lions Club once they get put in, with a picture or something like that. Is that something that could be done through the city? I don't know.
Yes.
Who. Yeah. Okay. I think that would be great, because we appreciate that,
Exactly.
Kathy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Will we have to get a hold of Crystal? Do you do that, Doug?
Yeah, well, when all this comes to fruition, yes. Well, Crystal and Kathy can talk. We'll get a hold of Crystal so you can talk and work through it. But once they're, and I really agree with Carmen, once they're in, that's the time for the press release, I would believe. We have photos that way, and make a larger impact publicly, I think, that way.
Perfect. All right. Anyone else have comments about benches before we move forward?
Not those benches. I want some in Nob Hill, though. You know.
Say they look beautiful. The bench at Dalton, it's beautiful.
Is that the same kind, Lynn? The
Yes,
same type of bench? Okay, great.
donated by Kathy at the Lions, yeah.
Awesome.
If there's
All right.
interest in a bench on Nob Hill, we can put that on our list for a future bench. I had wondered about that park also. So
Oh, Nob Hill, we've been budgeted for quite a few years to have 2 or 3 benches in there. Just a matter of I don't know if at one point we were talking about having to have concrete slabs, so I really need to probably just get that out there and decide where we want to put them. And hopefully the city has something already for those for Nob Hill.
How about recliners?
There you go. I don't want people to be too comfortable.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next item to keep things moving. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna be the bad guy today. I'm just gonna keep things moving right along. For new business, the last piece we have is social media accounts for the city, related facilities, parks, etc. Not sure who was planning to
That
speak.
would probably be me, that is just gonna make sure. And I don't know if maybe anybody spoke to any of you folks previously, either Crystal or anybody else from the city. And I don't even know, because I don't do Facebook or any of those things. So I don't know if there is a Facebook page or any other sort of social media page for Nob Hill Nature Park or for the Dalton Lake Nature Preserve.
Yes.
There is.
There
Mhm.
are, yeah.
Okay.
one
It's
for
Friends
each.
of the Dalton Lake Nature Preserve.
Yeah, friends of. So those separate pages are not going to be allowed any longer, because since they're associated with a city-controlled facility, they're public record, and anything that goes through those accounts, postings, any comment, anything, they all have to be archived. And those, it's very, very expensive to do that. And we should be archiving anything that you have had posted up on any of these Facebook pages or any other type of, if you have Twitter account, whatever. All of those should have been archived up to this point. However, because of the expense of them, and Sean is here, she might, I don't know, she just turned on her camera, so maybe she knows a little bit more about this, I'm not sure. Anyway, any news that needs to be put out as far as work parties or any organized activity or anything like that should all go through our communications officer, so basically through Crystal, to be posted through the city's official website rather than having these standalone types of accounts. So this is a relatively new policy that was just adopted within the last couple of months, and then we didn't have a chance to talk about it because we didn't have a meeting in November. So I am not the expert on all of this, but it was something that I was asked to pass along to make sure that this commission is aware of those rules. So if you have information that you need to pass out as far as some activity or something official going on at or gathering, any event, a tour or something like that that's going to happen at any of these parks, and these are the two that probably have the most activities of these types. That it just needs to channel through the city's website so it can be documented and archived appropriately.
Okay, now what about all the pictures and the events that we already have?
That I don't know exactly what the situation is with those, so it would be probably something you would need to contact Crystal and find out what we need to do to get those set up now or settled or however you want to do that. It doesn't prohibit you from putting out your own email or something like that that just says, hey, we're going to do this weekend. Right. But if it's an actual organized activity that you want posted, it just needs to go through the city's website so that we can try to contain the costs and make sure that everything is being archived correctly and according to what the law says. So we have to do.
Okay.
This just sounds very confusing suddenly. I'm flabbergasted.
It's not, it sounds sudden to all of us, but it's really something that it's been a law, and then they just.
So basically we need to shut down our Friends of Nob Hill Nature Park website. Dalton Lake needs to shut theirs down, and there is no more. Because I'd always hoped that with that stuff that you could go, hey, we're going to be in the park this weekend, come on down and help us. And so that's totally out the window of being able to do anything like that.
Or having your own separate Facebook page, yes. But if you want something like that posted, then you can send that information to Crystal, and we will put it out through a page on the website.
Okay, so we got to cancel our friends.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I know it makes it a little bit more not as convenient for you guys, I should say.
It makes it very inconvenient.
Yeah.
I mean,
but we have to follow what the documentation and the archiving laws are, so we're kind of stuck that way.
Howie, it should be easier. You just work with Crystal. It's so easy. Yeah. She'll do everything for you. She's great.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just flabbergasted.
Yeah, it's Putin and the Russians that are after you, Howie.
There you go. There you go.
Are
So,
there
okay.
any other questions or concerns about that anyone wants to discuss?
I just have a comment for Howard. You know, yeah, I'll maybe I better do it privately.
This is recorded. This is public meeting, so that's your
I was
call.
just gonna, yeah, like occasionally disappointed, but rarely surprised.
Okay.
So on that note, I think it's time to move on to old business. First up on old business, we have McCormick Play Equipment recommendations. And if you all were able to review the packet, that included the proposals, the top 2 proposals that we received. It has the details of those. Sue, did you want to talk through kind of the process that got us to those final 2 and what
Sure.
our next steps are, or do you want me to?
No, that's fine.
Go for it.
So when we kind of retooled this whole project and went to gear it more towards the all-inclusive play equipment, based on the fact that we not only competed, but the community really supported this project, and we won the Trailblazers Moda Assist grant. That kind of changed the whole outlook on this project, and we really wanted to make it as inclusive as possible, rather than just replace the play structure that was there in McCormick Park. And we all know how much use McCormick Park gets. And there's Rachel. Hi, Rachel. And so we wanted to make this special, and because another project that was in the Parks Master Plan kind of got pushed off to the side for a potential future use, some additional funds were able to be thrown at this playground equipment project. So when we had all that information and had what our increased budget was, I contacted all of the different playground representatives who had already gone through the state bid procurement process. So they were already all pre-approved. And I reached out to all of them and said, you know, this is what we got. We got this, what we think is a nice, great big giant budget. And we want some really awesome, inclusive play equipment. We want to make sure that there's ramps, that there's things that can be used by all abilities users, and that it spans a wide variety of ages. So we ended up getting 7 different proposals from 6 different vendors. One sent two different proposals. One included ramps on the main structure, and then his other proposal didn't include any ramps. So we kind of eliminated that particular one that didn't have the ramps, because we wanted this play equipment to be, again, as inclusive as we could for everybody. And so we got together, several people, and Jerry, I'm sorry you were out of town on those dates that we reviewed these, but we had a pretty wide variety of folks review all of the remaining 6 proposals. And we had 2 that really, we think, really met all of the, I don't want to say requirements, but all of the requests and all, you know, everything that we asked for, we feel was met by these 2 different play equipment. And we have one that we liked better than the other, but we wanted the rest of the group here to look at all of these, at these 2 proposals. And hopefully, if you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them. And then just get what your thoughts are on these 2 different proposals.
Has everyone had a chance to look at those, and what did people think?
I'm just glad to hear that you have the ramps, that you chose the ones with the ramps, I should say.
Yes.
I think that was
That,
important.
yeah, that was something that was decided right at the very beginning, that we wanted that the main structure to be accessible for anybody.
Should I share my screen, Sue, and kind of show the two, or do you
Can,
want
or I
to?
can. I have it up
Okay.
from the packet, whatever is
Okay,
easiest.
if you want to, go for it.
Okay, let's see.
And I think the goal today is really for us to pick of the two, which one we recommend to City Council. Is that correct?
Yes, because both of these were included. Why won't it let me? Both of these were included in the council packet to also look at. Huh.
Is it not letting you share?
No, it won't give me.
I can see if it'll let me share.
Oh wait, here we go.
Okay.
I got it now. So I think.
There it is.
Okay. I'll go back to the beginning of this one. Okay, so everybody can see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one of the proposals, several different views. So a few of the things that we asked for them to include specifically was obviously the ramped structure, musical instruments that could be walked up to or wheeled up to. So, you know, waist level type of things, meant mostly for smaller kids. Something that's fun, that would spin, replace the swing set with something that was all accessible and had the toddler swings. I want to make sure there was a couple of slides, and then this feature over here, if you can see my cursor going around here, this is a short little zip line. So go to the next view of this. So this is just all the same equipment from a different angle. So this is a big rope climbing structure that you get to from a rope bridge. You know, not everything here is 100% accessible to everybody. This little guy over here on the left side of the screen is like a little solitary pod. You can curl up in there if you just want, you know, it's mostly for smaller kids. But
Won't fit you, Jerry.
Yeah. Here's another view from the other side of the zip line here on the left, and you can see the ramp structure up, another climbing structure, a little slide here.
I do love all the climbing on this one, but there aren't that many slides on this one. Is it just one or two slides?
There's
slides.
two, yeah. There's one from this lower point, and then there's one on the back side from the slightly higher. This one doesn't have a lot of height to it. Oops.
Sherry, does the one in the back by the swings with the circle, is that a handicap for a wheelchair?
This one here?
Yes.
So this is a basket swing, so anybody can use it. You can fit multiple people on it. So you can have a parent and a small child, or somebody from a wheelchair can get into that. So yeah, this was one of the things that we specifically requested, was having one of these basket swings somewhere in the play equipment. So this is the other view. This is the second slide over here on the right. It's got a slide over, so if one person comes down and they don't immediately get off the end of the slide, they can slide off to the to the side, and the second person can come down. And this is that big rope climbing structure. The pyramid, this is a spinner. It spins. You can climb and spin on it. And this in the foreground is that little pod. Okay, this is the musical, little music, some drums and chimes. And then you can see the swings there. This didn't have as many swinging options as the next one did. And then this is just their overview layout. Now this one did come in more expensive than what we had given them as a budget, but we had said that there would be a little bit of wiggle room in there, and on this one there would be a little bit of an opportunity to reduce the cost, because I think they included the demo of the existing equipment in their bid. So if we do that, we can take some of the cost off. Also, this footprint can be adjusted. As you see the way they have it set in here, it's really close to the existing covered shelter, and we had asked specifically that it be not right next to the covered shelter, but they can adjust the location of a lot of the equipment here. Depending on how spread out it gets, though, it would potentially increase the cost because of the fall protection around it. That's expensive. That costs as much as the equipment itself. Yeah. Okay, so here's all their, how many screws and bolts and levers and everything. Anyway, that's all their cost stuff here.
Is that from IKEA?
Yeah. Some assembly required.
That's right.
So here was the other proposal. This was from Wildwood Play Structures. And so a lot of similar equipment, but just arranged differently. And then, so they have the feature in the background here is another zip line, but this one's 95 feet long. So a lot more to that one. They have 2 play structures. The smaller one on the right is designed specifically for very small children, ages 2 to 5. And then the larger one here is designed for older kids. And you can see it's ramped up to a certain point, just similar to the other one, where it's ramped up to a certain point, and then they had the rope bridge. So obviously that's not 100% accessible. So this would be a similar type of thing. They have a separate, the little monkey bar hanging things, and a couple of those little rockers for smaller kids. And the musical instruments, they've separated the basket swing from the other swings, which isn't a bad thing. Okay, just another view of it. This is a very similar one of those rope spinner. You can see the zip line over here. There's more slides on this one. And also on the swing set itself, there's more swinging bays, and there's also this really nice little infant swing on the very end.
There's a question in the chat, Sue, from Melissa about the zip line, and does the zip line have one of the accessible chairs for riding on it?
I can't answer that right off of my head, but if that's something that we think is necessary, it would be something I'm sure we could add to it.
Thank you.
If it
Were you going to say which one was the preferred plan of the
I'll
two?
say.
We're yeah, you guys can decide. So you can see over here that there's the taller slide. So the main structure in the middle, it's higher. It's designed to work with older kids, not, it's not really as limited in the age. Here's the little musical instruments. And here is a little closer view. The little balance steps and another climbing feature and the hanging bars. And then you can see how much taller this end structure is with the wraparound slide. And then they got a little double slide here. And this slide here is accessible. And they also have a lot of other features on the sides of the structure. Oh, this is, if you can see this little structure kind of in the middle, this can seat 6 people and it's accessible and it rocks.
Oh.
We had one other person include a feature like that, but they didn't have nearly as many other features, so it didn't make the final cut. Oh, there's another a little bit better view of this multiple seating rocking feature here. And then you can see some little tactile panel here that you can mess with, and also along this funky, whatever that is there.
Are these made out of plastic or metal?
No, it's plastic. Everything's plastic. All of them are, yeah.
Yeah, Sue, one of the questions I actually have 2 questions here.
Okay.
One was durability. Do you see one set more durable than the other?
No, I don't think so. I asked some questions of the representative, not the actual manufacturer, but of the representative, and one of them was about the warranty. And so his response was that this company, this Play and Park, has the strongest warranty in the industry. Now, he didn't say exactly what their warranty was, but he said it was the best warranty.
Okay. We don't. So, but when you looked at them, you thought they were both pretty durable. Then they would hold up to kids. Over
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. So this company's installed. They have some equipment that is in the children's park at the Rose Garden that's been there for over 20 years, and it's not in perfect shape. If you look on the website, you can see some of the paints chipped off and such, but it looks as good as the equipment that we have in McCormick Park right now that is being replaced.
And my other question, though, Sue, is how about safety? I mean, like the zip line, and like that multiple thing where people rock back and forth. Can they tip it over? I mean.
Yeah, I don't think that could tip over the way it's built into there. The zip line is going to be what the zip line is, if we want to include that. And we can always take features out.
And Melissa had another question in the chat asking, does the multiple seating rocking toy have space for a wheelchair?
Yeah, as far as I understand, yes, that it can wheel directly in off of the ramp here. That's the way I understand that.
That's what I thought too, looking at it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It seems like this one has a lot more features than the other one. It looks a lot more fun, in my opinion.
Agreed. Yeah, it seems like we get a lot more for the money in the second one versus the first one.
Yeah, and so in the swing set, you can see they have the little infant chair that's at a higher elevation, so that the parent or adult can be right next to it. And then they also have this that you can have the infant in there and the adult on the same swing.
Oh.
And
those are so fun. Yeah, I really liked the swing options in the second one too. They're different. They're different than what we have in any of our parks right now, which was pretty cool.
And then this is their proposed layout.
And Sue, all of the area is padded. I mean, when I look at those
Yes.
diagrams, the whole thing is padded.
Everything underneath, yes, would have the padding. The only place that wouldn't have the padding, at the beginning and end of the zip line, that would have the padding, but in the middle, it would just be the bark chips. Because it was prohibitively expensive to do padding all the way down the zip line. But
How far off the ground I think the zip line would be fun. So it's only 30 yards long, so I mean it's not very long.
It's
but
not, yeah.
But how far off the ground is it?
It's not very high. But I don't know the exact.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's only high enough that you can step onto it from the ground. You're not going to have to climb up something to get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Jerry,
that makes a lot more sense.
Jerry, the last
Gonna go try it.
was imported by Orta, and it ended in a tequila factory. We could incorporate that in.
All right.
John, I'll do it with you.
So this is kind of their overview and proposed layout. They were a little bit more conscious of staying so that wasn't right next to the covered shelter, but again, we can move things around a little bit so that it's where we want it.
I think Melissa's suggestion to, if we choose the second option with the zip line, have an accessible chair attached to it. I think that would be great. I would support that. Does anyone else have questions or comments or concerns? Does anyone feel like they know which one they would want to vote for and make a recommendation to City Council?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any more questions before we do that?
Are they about
Comments?
equally priced, or is one much more expensive than the other?
This one came in a little bit less than the other one did, but it was assuming that we would do the demo. So I think if you took the demo out of the other one, they would be pretty dang close.
Okay.
All right. Does someone want to make a recommendation?
I recommend we
Make a
take the
motion.
second one.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
That was for the
opposed?
second one, right?
Second one, yep. Anyone
Okay.
opposed? Yay.
All right, I'm
Exciting.
Well, that was
going
easy.
to stop sharing.
And huge
Well,
thank
that is-
you to everybody who is involved in all of that. I know it was a lot of work for you, Sue, Thad, Shauna, all of you were
Yeah.
involved in that, so thank you. And others, I'm sure.
At least
Alrighty.
you guys chose the right one.
You
Will
passed
we
the
have it in by
test.
Christmas?
What was that question?
Will it be in by Christmas?
Next year,
Yeah, so that was one of the questions that I sent to the rep was, so if this one is selected, that when would we get it? So he said that the factory that builds these closes down every January for 3 weeks so that they can clean and retool all their equipment so that when they start building again, everything is exactly to the specifications. So they wouldn't start manufacturing anything until the end of January, and we would likely get delivery if it was ordered by the end of the year, that we would likely get delivery in the first 2 weeks of March, sometime in that time period. And then he has an installer that it would just be a matter of setting up that installation time, but it would probably be sometime in the spring that this would be installed.
Perfect.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Doug,
And-
did you have a comment or question? You're muted.
Okay,
But I
can you
saw
hear me
your
now?
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that this is a matter of processes, and this is for Sue. Okay, I will recommend, obviously, and stand behind what the Parks Commission recommends to the council. Okay, so it will be one or the other. However, anticipating things that I know that go on in a council, the council will want to see probably both plans.
They're included in the packet, in your council packets. Both of them are.
Okay, and then with that, then Sue, will you be there to go over both plans?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so I'll give a strong recommendation for whatever the Parks Commission recommends.
Will that be covered in the evening session or also in the work session?
I believe it's, let me
I feel
look.
like it's just the evening, but I may be wrong on that. I'm happy to be there for support as well, if you think that would help.
Yeah, it wasn't on the work session agenda.
Okay.
So, but it could be something that could be, maybe brought up. Because I would think that they'd want to, look at them a little closer.
And in all fairness, if it is, let's give Carmen a call if it gets moved to the work session.
Yeah, if they bring it up there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll be on the work session for the urban trail stuff.
Oh, good. Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Great. Well, thank you everybody for input on that.
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody on the whole Parks Commission and, really getting this project off the ground and supporting it the whole time, even when we had to just put a halt to it all and go through the MODA program and the community support and everything. I've been just really thankful to be a participant in this, and I'm going to follow through on this particular project, and then also with Jenny on the Campbell Park project. I'm going to be following through on those two projects, but I'll be stepping back from the Parks Commission, and Mohammed, our new Public Works Director, will be participating with the Parks Commission from now on. He wasn't able to join this meeting this afternoon, but I've really appreciated everybody and all your great ideas, and hopefully I can still see you once in a while.
Thank you so much, Sue, for everything that you do for us.
You're a great group, and you guys get so much done. I'm always impressed by what you guys get done.
I want to thank you personally for Dalton, because if it wasn't for you, you were so responsive to our questions, to any issues we might have had, and it was very nice working with you.
Well, it was very good working with you, and you're the one that got all that done. I didn't have anything to do with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm
All
sorry,
right,
Carmen.
thank you. No, you're fine. Thank you. Sorry. It is officially 5 o'clock, so we're going to keep on moving. We are on to old business recreation program updates, which is a standing item. So, Shauna, do you have any updates you want to give today?
Well, right now we are doing a reindeer bell scavenger hunt over at McCormick Park. So if you know of any littles that want to go and do that, actually it's been fun for the adults too. So each Monday we post a new set of clues and you go find the bells, and at the end you unscramble the word and get a prize. I'm working on, or I submitted a grant to be able to do the story time trails, like a permanent one. And so I'll probably, if I do get that grant, I'll come back and we can talk about where we would like that to be. Those are really popular in the summertime, but the weather really made them not very rain friendly. And so we would love to get something a little bit more permanent. And then we are looking towards spring right now, and we'd really love to bring in some disc golf stuff for the youth, as well as tennis and golf, and then restart our walking clubs and groups as well. And I know Pat and I have emailed a little bit back and forth kind of during the time where we had to lay everyone off, and so I didn't have a lot of staff support, but I was able to bring back 2 very part-time staff through some grants that are helping me with some things. So So yeah, so just a little bit of stuff going on. And if you all have any ideas or if there's anything you want to lead, and as well with the social media stuff, I can always share that on the Parks and Recreation Facebook page as well. I kind of had to go through what you guys did too, because I had a Friends of Rec group that we had to shut down and do it this way. So I'm willing to brainstorm with you all and help you with that too. So that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Shauna. Would it be possible to get those events posted in the monthly newsletter too?
Yeah, I think that probably, well, Rachel's here right now, so she might have more information for how that's going to work. But I know for Crystal, she sends me kind of a reminder like, hey, you know, the newsletter is coming up. I need your information. So I would really suggest Lynn and Howard get on that email as well so that it can all be streamlined. And maybe there's something in the works for how to streamline it a little bit more, because I know Crystal's going to be doing more with that too and stuff. I think just the main thing is, you know, getting the information. I can help with some last minute stuff too. So if you have any questions or need some assistance, just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Shauna. Does anyone have any questions for Shauna? All righty, we're gonna keep things moving. Next up is Urban Trail update. And I can provide a quick update on that. The subcommittee met again a couple of weeks ago and went through the old presentation that we had done to City Council last year, back when we had made a motion to recommend the urban trail and we presented it, and then it didn't really go anywhere immediately, which is okay. There were improvements to other pieces of it, and so now we met again as a subcommittee, went through that presentation, went through the map and kind of the path, revised it a little bit for current state, and so we're presenting that again in the work session on Wednesday. And the final presentation just got finished up mid last week, so it's not in our packet, but it is in the City Council work session packet. And it goes over what Howie, me, and Jerry, and Rachel and Doug talked about, the updated path. So really we're going to be presenting that to them with the hope that we can move forward. So if you want more details on that, all of the details are included there. We did make a motion in our last meeting to move forward on the urban trail. So I'm not sure that we need another motion in this meeting, but open to everybody's thoughts on that. And if you want me to page through the presentation here, I can, or what do you guys think?
The work session begins at 1 o'clock on Wednesday?
Yep, 1 o'clock, and I think we're a couple items in on the agenda.
Okay.
I've already copied the presentation, so I've got a good look at it. That's
okay.
Good.
And the goal is not really to go super in depth on the actual route. The route is included in there and there's a link and we can go through it, but I think the overall goal is to get support, to have staff focus and be able to help implement it. And so we also want to provide staff the flexibility to make changes and not feel like it's locked in 100% as to what we're recommending. So
I think when the subcommittee meet, like Carmen said, you know, when you start getting into the details, there's just a lot of, the devil is in the details. And with this trail, that's really, really the truth. So I think the consensus after a little discussion was that we're basically just going to kind of give the general idea and get it in the master plan. But all the specifics are also there too, right, Carmen?
Yep, the specifics are all there. Rachel is awesome and did a map, so the presentation can click into the actual map on Google Maps as to the path, and there's kind of the two different sections. So that's all there. And the recommendation right now, it would be to include this and future urban trails in in the next round of the master plan, because the master plan is not easily updated and there was so much work to get that in place. So this is like it will be encompassed in the master plan. And Rachel, feel free to, I know you've had some conversations on that, so feel free to chime in and add to that if I missed anything.
No, I think that says it. We do have a resolution drafted recognizing all of you for your hard work and committing to moving forward in good faith and partnership with staff and the commission. So good thing. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you for all your work on that, Rachel. And the resolution, the draft resolution, is in the city council, not the work session, but the packet for the evening meeting. So anyone who wants to look at that.
Yeah, I have to just thank all of you for all the work that you've done on this, and it's going to set a pattern for what to come, like I said before. And Rachel was wonderful to come aboard at the very end, work with the resolution, and it's all going to move forward from here on. So good work, gang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
This trail
thank
from
you.
Trojan Park.
What was that, Pat?
Is the trail from Trojan Park?
No, this is a new trail, not necessarily a trail, but kind of a new urban trail pathway that we're recommending through through downtown and kind of connecting local parks here in St. Helens.
Oh, okay.
So the goal is to kind of get this initial pathway set up, and then in the future we can build on that and kind of build interconnectedness through other areas, to other parks, to other areas of the community or outskirts. So
that's
our
about
first step.
Yeah, I think Carmen really hit one thing that we also talked about besides just getting in the master plan. We wanted to get, the first trail.
Right.
And then once that's in place, like Carmen says, then we can connect it off. And so I think it's really important that we get the initial, urban trail.
Right.
Thank you. It's going to serve as a hub in a sense. And yeah, so that's what I'm excited about.
Because we said it was about 2 miles in length or so roughly. And didn't we say that it goes through about 6 parks in those 2 miles? Isn't that what we kind of came up with?
2.5. Let me pull it up really quick. I'll just share my screen super fast if I can do it with both of these, just so you all can see. I'm sharing my screen.
Carmen's talking about the only real big change we made was the trail. Originally, we were thinking about going down 3rd Street, but since the 5th Street trail got in place,
can you guys see that?
moved the trail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, 2.5 miles in length, connects 6 parks. And then we've got details of why we need it. And then the proposed route. And again, this can be tweaked. It's not final route. I think we are open to small changes. This is just general idea. And then, we can tweak it once we get approval. And we really want to incorporate staff feedback too. So we want staff support in this and staff to be involved and excited about this too. So
That's funny. It almost looks like the same Volks Walk that I laid out a year ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Funny.
Trying to do the same
Awesome.
thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're channeling you, Pat. Does anyone have feedback or other thoughts on that?
Carmen, the only thing is, I know this is a detailed thing, but we talked about that alternate route going down Tualatin Street that wasn't on that map there.
Okay.
But it's
And
not
we
a
can-
big deal. That's not a
Okay.
big deal.
Yeah, I think those are all things that we can play with and modify once we get the approval. And so anyone who's able to join the work session and provide support or anything, or if you have any feedback, feel free to send to me. Happy to have you guys. So, alrighty. Any other thoughts on that before we keep moving? Alrighty, next up is Dalton Lake update. Lynn.
Right. In October, we had our concrete poured that was going to hold the kiosk and the bike rack and the bench, and it was finally installed on December 2nd, and I was elated. Took a lot of pictures, put it on the Facebook page, so hopefully we can get some of that transferred over. But yeah, it turned out really well, and Jeremy Furnish, who made the bike racks, they were very whimsical, and you'll have to go down and take a look at it. There's a goose on top of or duck, whichever you think that is, on top of the bike rack, and he's riding a bicycle, and he's got a top hat. It's really cute. And but then I did get, at the end of November, another issue that's come up again. Patrick emailed me and let me know that the young willows were cut down again in the wetland area by the Riverview Estates that looks out right at the boundary of where the water is and the wetland. So I'm looking now at signs that I think we should be getting up there to let them know that it is a preserve there and to not disturb that area again. So I will be working with Public Works about the signage on that, and I've already come across a few suggestions. So let's see, December 8th, we had a Zoom kickoff meeting with Crest and the Wolf Water Resources, who will be doing the work at Dalton for the restoration. And I talked about this, I think, at the last meeting, and also Jason Smith came to our meeting and reported on that. And so the Water Resources, Wolf Water Resources has got a 30% design stage that they presented. And they wanted all the stakeholders there. And it went very well. Everybody could ask questions. They answered it extremely well, and were very concerned about what we thought and what we were worried about at all. And the only thing that came up was making sure that there was enough water in the summer for the waterfowl and various birds and amphibians that habitat that area right now. And in their plan, design plan, they're looking at actually the beavers, using the beavers to keep that water up that they're doing right now. So if you walk down there, you're going to see it's a good 5 to 10 feet high from the water level of the Columbia. So I was pretty impressed with the process that they're doing. And nobody else in the advisory committee seemed to be concerned about what they had read and what they're hearing. So that looks pretty good. If anybody has any questions, I can try and answer them.
Does that mean they'll finally stop taking out the beaver dam?
Pardon me?
Does that mean they'll finally stop taking out the beaver dam?
Yes, yeah.
Yay!
So, you know, like I said, they're at about the 30% stage, and the original gate that was there to adjust the water was there because it was to make it higher, the water level higher, to reduce the canary reed grass. And Chip Bubel gave that history to them. So it looks like it's going to work out pretty good, especially for the salmonids, the smolts that'll be using that as a resting place as I go up to Columbia. I did a couple of interviews for the Chronicle and the Spotlight. And before I did that, I sent that notice out to the advisory committees to give any input that they'd like to see in the articles. And that should be coming out probably this week. So let's see. Some good news. I went to Dahlgren's. They called me and let me know that the plaques are ready for the kiosk, denoting that Dahlgren's had donated the materials for the kiosk. And while I was discussing what our
the projects we have next and how we needed a couple more kiosks, he actually stopped me in mid-sentence and said, anytime, let me know. So he's willing to donate the materials. And Ron Youngberg said that he would build them.
Oh, cool.
We've got that covered.
Wow. That would be awesome to get that. Is that just for Dalton or would that be for any?
Dalton.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sorry.
I was thinking urban trail because one of the things that we would like to have is having kiosks at more of the parks. So,
well, I mentioned that if we can get access to our other couple of trails to Dalton, we already have planned 2 more on the main trail, one looking at the historic area and one at the lake that describes the bird species and the insects that habitat that area. And then we'd have to have one at the south entrance, St. Helens entrance. So that would be 3 more. But after that. So let's see. Yeah, and we're still looking to the city to help us move forward to access of those trails. So that would be at Madrona Court and the South Trail entrance. So hopefully that'll get moved on a little bit.
Curious, Lynn, what's the status? Where do things stand on the Madrona Court access? Is that just kind of at a standstill right now?
So far, nothing has been done on that.
Okay.
Yeah. And
if anything happens with that, would you include me? I'm curious.
I will.
Since I live nearby.
I will. I'm not sure how to move forward anymore on this. It was in our proposal, and I'll be hopefully talking with planning again to see how I can move forward, because I'm willing to even step forward to talk with the owners on different options that we might have for them.
Okay, keep me posted. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help on that.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's about it for now. And I would just want to say that the connectivity to the urban trail system that we're going to have started will be very important for the future, including Dalton as well as the botanical gardens, because that would be a natural transition to go to botanical, then on to Dalton by the trail there. So thank you. That's it.
I just have a comment. Well, one, the signage is finished and the signs are in Public Works. Dave Elder's waiting for a committee to tell him where to put them. So if we can get a committee together and get over to Mr. Elder's office, he'll give you those signs, and your committee can either put them up or whatever, or they'll put them up. They just don't know where exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That's what he told me. And then the second part is that I've got to apologize for the city in terms of writing letters to owners for the property. The planning department is snowed. I mean, they can hardly get their head above water. So when I talked to Jacob about that, he just goes, "Oh my heavens!" and it pointed to his desk and the room, and it looked like a CPA before tax time with all the paperwork and everything that he had to do. And Jen is trying to help him out as well, Jen Dimshow, and they're just snowed. So I kind of felt bad interrupting that, but it's on their radar.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you for all those updates, Lynn.
Thank you.
Next up is master plan additions, and that's just our running list. So just to touch base to see if anyone has anything they want to add to that list.
I do have a question about that. Have we decided, I mean, we keep talking about things to add to it. Is there a time frame where we need to say, like, every 6 months, we're going to take what we've said and get it put into the plan, or how is that end of it working? I mean, I can't believe that every time we give something, it suddenly gets put in there. What is the format for that? Should we have like a twice yearly or once a year that we say, these are the things we've come up with in the last year or in the last 6 months, and we'd like them added to the master plan. What's the best way there?
We've talked about that, and we talked about potentially doing like addendums to the master plan, but I think every time we get to that point, it's too much. I think there's so much work that was put into the master plan initially, and the goal is to do a new master plan as soon as the most recent census data is available, that it doesn't make sense for us to do the addendum to the current master plan, but continue to compile this list and our thoughts so that when the next round of master plan updates happens, we have all of that and we're ready to provide our recommendations. Sue and Rachel, I think, would be better suited to add to that.
Yeah, there is the desire to update the entire Parks and Trails master plan, but the census information will help guide that direction. And it's not an easy thing to just update the plan. They have to change the comp plan. There's public hearings. It's a time consuming, and there's cost to it with all the notifications and the staff that have to attend meetings and all of these things after regular hours. So it's something that can't just be done because, oh, we want to put these things in here. So there's a process that it'll go through. But once the new plan is updated, then maybe there would be a way to, I don't know, adopt, build something in there so that there can be things added to it. I'm not sure how that process would work, but that might be something Jenny would be more knowledgeable about. And it looks like she probably had to leave at 5, so she's not with us.
Kind of looks like it could be another year or two before we actually get into the master plan. Is what it's like.
Same old.
That's what I'm seeing is that it's going to be a year or two.
I think all we can do at this point as Parks and Trails Commission is continue to compile these things, and as we have items and details, let's add them and let's keep compiling them so they're not getting lost.
It's so helpful and really helps speed up that process once you get to that. So yeah, absolutely. But that would be something that would be a planning that Jenny and Jacob, but probably more Jenny, because it's a planning department project or something that they would undertake.
Would it be worth going to a plan? Oh, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, thank you. And I definitely think that the way it's set up now is almost absurd, because it puts you folks with your ideas and what you want to do in the hole. And you have to crawl out of that hole because it isn't in the master plan. So now we have to submit something to the master plan, and it has to go through all this process before, and it comes back to you a year later or 6 months later or whatever. And it's absolutely absurd. It's non-functional. So my point is that, sorry, it has to be in the master plan or it's going to be updated is unreasonable. I'm going to bring it to the council. We'll be talking about it at some time with the council about the process of a master plan, especially with parks, and how inflexible it is. It's tight, it's rigid, and it doesn't allow us to do hardly anything unless we build in that flexibility. So in the master plan, there's got to be verbiage to say, hey, this has to be this, there are other kinds of issues that will be going forward, and we need to be flexible. How else can we ever design a trail system, a linkage of trail systems? We aren't saying to Scappoose, who came to us and said, oh, we're interested in doing a linkage from Scappoose to St. Helens. Was there anyone on our staff who stepped up and says, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do that. It's because it isn't in the master plan. Well, come on, we have to have some flexibility. So there are built-in flexibilities that we can work, go forward, brainstorm about ideas for our parks. And I'm hearing that because it isn't in the master plan, it can't be done. I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
That's it. There's got to be a way a set time, like every 6 months or once a year, things can be added or subtracted from the master plan.
Then that's the city council. We'll try to fix that at the city council level. Okay. Thanks.
I think that's something that we could build into the next master plan too, kind of like what Sue was talking about, where in the next master plan, the master plan is amazing what was accomplished that we have now based on what it was previously. So let's continue to roll with that. Let's build off of it. We see the need now to add addendums to the master plan potentially. So let's build into the master plan a plan for addendums. How do we do that? How do we get new items added so that it's not this huge undertaking? So I don't think it's a fault of the current master plan. I think it's something that we're seeing a need for now. So let's bring that forward and let's plan to use that in the next master plan update. So
well stated, Carmen. Well stated.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, let me see where we're at on the agenda.
Discussion items.
Discussion items. I have one item for discussion items that I was hoping just to, maybe Doug has an update on. The Millard Road property. In one of the recent city council meetings, there was conversation about reviewing purchases of that property potentially. So I was wondering if you have an update for us on what's happening with the Millard Road property.
Sue can help me out with this. Sue, are you still there?
Yep.
With the Millard property, there was through the planning department, there was a sense of getting things done so that a road could have access to it, I believe. And I don't know the name of the road. Do you, Sue, that 50-foot road?
Chase Road.
Chase Road, right. And that was the issue of getting a right of way of Chase Road into that property. So then we had to decide on a use, and the council decided on a mixed use of that property. Mixed use with an area of park area that is on the north end.
Very north end.
Yeah, on the north end.
By the creek.
By the creek, yes. And then a possibility, there was in our last discussion, I believe there was a possibility of, I tried to promote a trail from the existing wetland that Jerry worked on years ago, adjacent to Millard Road, all the way down to where that park is, and then through the park and then through Furlock Park as well, or to the high school. And so there was that discussion a bit about a future trail in that area. So all that property is, and we've got to answer to our citizens of how that's going to be used. And that was in a discussion with the council. And I kind of went out on a limb and my suggestion was park area as much as possible. It didn't go, so it got mixed use, and that's a usage of that area right now.
Mixed use does allow parks, yeah.
Didn't we recommend to them that be, from the Parks Commission, that the portion down by the creek be recreational and the other be more of a nursing home, senior assisted living center type of place in there?
That would be mixed use. That would be mixed use.
Also, it's listed on page 88 of the master plan, if you want to look that up.
Yeah, I think when we first discussed that,
It's not a park.
I think the consensus of it, John, was that whole property was going to be a park because there's two giant wetlands there,
Right.
and then the part down by the creek, it floods. At least in '96 it flooded. And the reason when I'm talking about the Parks and Trails Commission. The reason we wanted that whole thing to be a park because in another 40, 50 years, that area out there is probably going to be well developed. There's probably going to be a lot of homes out there. And we felt like that people could develop their property around that as they wanted, and the city could use that as a large field because we have the two large wetlands. There could be some baseball fields there. There could be a soccer field there. But Doug can tell you that the city council didn't like our idea. They wanted it to be mixed use. I still feel very strongly that the whole thing should be a park because of the wetlands and because of the future developments around that. But that's my opinion.
No, I agree with you totally, Jerry.
Me too.
And I live about a mile away, and we just found out that coho salmon are spawning in McNulty Creek there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was really purchased as the hospital property and to give benefit back to all the citizens of St. Helens. What other better use than a park? To mix use and sell it off for somebody's home and this, that, and the other thing. That's I think that goes against what that property really kind of good for.
I agree.
What happened was,
we don't have a park on that side. Oh, sorry.
What happened was it was originally a park over off Ross Road, and they traded that property to the school district so they could purchase the land that we're talking about now. To build up the hospital, and for some reason, I don't know why the school had to get part of our property on Ross Road, which we have there, was sold based on it becoming a park at some point, and that's been cut a little bit, been cut off. And they use it for a driving range now. Some of that belongs to the church, some belongs to the parks, and some belongs to the school district. So it's divided up there. One nice thing about the property there that would make it development, I think we were looking at selling that property for a single use type thing for a nursing center or whatever, and using the money from it. But that property also has most of the utilities it needs in there. It has 2 fresh water lines in there, plus all the electrical, and it has been annexed into the city. So that was kind of a little bit short history of that.
Also, it's a wildlife corridor as well.
A what?
A wildlife corridor.
Exactly.
If you live in that area, you know that.
So maybe, Doug, I don't know. I know decisions can always be changed, but maybe that's something that we should maybe address again and see how the new, city council feels about that recommendation. Because, I don't know I kind of get the feeling here that a lot of us would think that whole area should be a park with base softball fields, soccer fields, for that area that's going to be developed out there. So maybe some people will have a little bit different view than what they had a couple of years ago.
Good point, Jerry, because the council's changing and so things can change that way. I would endorse that overwhelmingly. And that is a good idea. And it's well-founded, and I think that if we start looking in the future, that I haven't seen any other areas that are set aside for parks out on that side. It's not there.
Doug, that's why the Ross Road property was purchased from Eric Dahlgren, was with the idea that we put his name as a park for that entire area, because there were no parks over there at that point. So, and then with the hospital, it all got turned around.
So John, what that was, it was a wetlands mitigation area for
at the beginning of it, yeah.
for McBride's, because McBride School was, they purchased the property. They found out that it was partially old wetlands there.
Yes.
So then
That's
the school district said, we still want to build it here. And the state says, yeah, you can go ahead and build it here, but you've got to mitigate it. So the school district bought the Millard property. They put in the 2 large wetlands. And then they eventually sold that to, or did they sell that to the?
They traded.
They traded, yeah.
So should we,
Well,
they sold it to
the hospital, and the school district got the property on Ross Road to put up another elementary school.
Oh, okay.
So should we add this as an agenda item to talk about further at the next meeting? You guys think?
Do you think that's appropriate, Doug, for the city?
I do.
Okay.
Well,
I'm good with it.
I do with a new council and taking into consideration the usage of that property.
Park.
And if it is mixed use, then does parks fit into mixed use? Yes. How much?
Oh, yeah.
100%? I don't think so. I don't think that the council is thinking that way, because they didn't want to go all residential. They didn't want to go all commercial or whatever. It's mixed use means like it can be almost anything. And so now is, I think, of an appropriate time to start to define what mixed use is. How much park, how much, if there's going to be any kind of amenities at all on that property, what does the council have in mind? So I like the idea.
Okay, I'll make sure it gets added to the agenda next time so we have more time to talk about it.
Great idea.
Carmen,
Doug, are you going to be?
Could we get
Go
a
ahead.
map of the 2 properties, of the Ross Road and the Millard Road property?
I think we have that because we've had these conversations before. So I can I'll track down the documents that we had the last time we discussed and make sure those get in the packet next time. I'll get them to Sherry.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're still in discussion items. Are there other items that anyone wants to discuss?
Yeah, Nob Hill's doing pretty
Nob
good.
Hill?
We've been putting in more plantings. I think the Watershed Council is getting closer to coming up with their plan of what they're going to do along the 5th Street right away. Been doing a lot of leaf blowing in there. I need to blow off the boardwalk again. I've done that already like 3 times to keep the leaves off the boardwalk. And I still got to figure out the best way that everybody says I'm entitled to some benches. And so would I just probably need to talk to Thad about that? Or where do I go to really get the bench idea moving for Nob Hill?
This commission.
Well, we've talked about it multiple times and we've all agreed to move forward with that. So I think it's just a conversation between you and Thad on placement. I think that's where things have
And
been
Kathy will
left
work on, she said she'd work on getting you one with that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, one quick discussion item, Carmen.
Mhm.
John Welch is now Doug's neighbor. So you live on one side of the Botanical Gardens. John Welch and Doug lives on one side, and I live on the other side. So we're still going to spray the poison oak and blackberries. And John said that he would help us clean up the park when we had a park cleanup day.
Perfect.
John who?
Our city manager, John Welch.
Oh, yeah.
The semi, not the politician, but the bureaucrat.
Well, either way.
Just remember, poison oak is a native plant, and it does have a really good symbiotic thing with if you have a tree, a lot of times squirrels like to be in that tree when you have poison oak growing up there.
Carmen doesn't like poison oak. Carmen doesn't like poison oak, and I don't like it either because it's in the way when you walk through the trails on that one side.
Well, no, as
Does
I've
not
always said,
end
anything
fun
that's,
in a fun way.
like I say, anything that's 0 to 10 feet off the side of the trail, that's cool.
Yeah.
But some of these other things, because as I always joke in Nob Hill, we had a tree, we cut the poison oak off of it one time. The squirrel nests went away. Now we have another tree that's got poison oak growing up it, and the squirrel nests are back. So just there is some relationships in there But yes,
That's
anything
fair.
close to the trail does need to go away.
Thanks for bringing
Poison
that up.
oak does not need to be on trees because just before I went to high school, I used to live by the Sacramento River and I climbed a tree. At the time, I didn't know what poison oak looked like, and I got poison oak from my stomach to my neck. And
So good.
Now you recognize it, don't you?
and now I can shiny leaves of 3, let it be, berries white, they will bite. So yes.
So I do like them squirrels.
I think there's one other item that we need to discuss today too, which I didn't put on the agenda, but is related to who is going to be the chair next. Is that what we discuss in this meeting, or do we do that in January's meeting?
You
We
elect
do
the
that
people
first
in
meeting
January.
January.
January. Okay.
So you run the
I thought it
January
was-
meeting still.
Okay. And then perfect.
Well, I think wasn't Elisa? Weren't you going to be the next
I
chair?
think she was next if she
Am I?
wants it.
Oh, okay. If you want to keep going with it, I'm fine with that too.
Either way, I'll put it on the agenda for next month. We'll make sure that it gets added and we can talk about it then. I just
Okay.
wasn't sure.
Think of your political ambitions over the next month.
Are there any other discussion items from anybody else?
Kudos to you, Carmen, and Jerry for doing this again, another term. Way to go. Way to step up.
Happy to. The time flies by. It's hard to believe it's up
Doesn't it
already.
And one last thing, thank you to the city for the nice gift certificate and our little pieces of paper for our recognition. So thank you to the city for those and us.
Yeah, and Doug, if you're not with us next time, I kind of reiterate
yeah,
what
I'm gonna
everyone
get out.
else said.
I'm
But
going
I
to get
think
out
you've
in
done-
that poison oak you're talking about. All right.
I think you've really done a good job, Doug.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for everything. And maybe hopefully we'll see you next meeting as well.
I hope so.
And I think that's all
You're
of our
always welcome.
True.
Yes, you can always attend and listen in, hang out with us. We're fun. All right, I think we're good. Is everybody good?
Well, everybody have a
Thanks,
Merry
Carmen.
All right,
Happy
meeting adjourned.
holidays.
Thank you all. Happy holidays.
See you guys.
Holidays.
Bye.